Good morning, Dylan with Huntsville Guns. I wanted to take a moment this morning before I got the shop opened up to cover a firearm that came in for a transfer that I think you might be interested in. I'll preface by saying that I am not being paid to tell you the information I'm going to tell you. This firearm belongs to a customer who was gracious enough to loan it to me for a video. And two, I am a professional gunsmith. I am not a former Navy SEAL or retired law enforcement. I do have some experience in self-defense, personal defense, home defense, but what you're going to get is my opinion on this firearm's usefulness in that arena. I have a home defense plan, and my home defense plan involves a pump action 12 gauge. This is actually my Remington 870. This gun came to me, belonged to a customer, and it rode in a car for several months and wasn't maintained well and got pretty rusty. And so I bought it from them in an effort to get them into a new firearm and did some Cerakote work and modified it to make it my own for my use in that situation. The firearm we're going to discuss today is the Tokarev TX3 Hammer. This is a 12 gauge pump action carbon copy. This is a Turkish Mossberg 500. Why do I think, let me tell you what it is, and then we'll go into why I think it doesn't suck for what we're discussing. This is an 18-inch barrel pump action 12 gauge. Shoots 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. Manufacturer listed at 5+1 in the chamber. I found some videos and some information online that said 4+1. So I checked. This gun does in fact hold 5 3-inch shells in the magazine tube plus 1 in the chamber. Does have a flared or a beveled loading gate on the bottom and a larger than average ejection port, which I found pretty cool. It does have a slide release here in front of the trigger guard, and then your safety is here behind the trigger itself. Again, unloaded and empty. This gun out of the box has about a 7-pound trigger pull. It's a bit on the squishy side, but for a pump action 12 gauge, perfectly adequate. Fixed blade front sight. Does have a white dot on the inside of it. It's probably my one complaint about the firearm, aside from the fact that it does not have a choke and it is not threaded to accept one. Sling swivel on the magazine end cap, as well as a sling swivel here on the rear of the buttstock. Polymer furniture, fairly firm butt pad, and the top of the receiver is dovetailed and has a threaded hole here in the rear. Manufacturer lists a couple of optional accessories you can purchase to go with it, and one of those is a dovetail to Picatinny rail section that goes into the top of the receiver. Why do I think that this firearm doesn't suck if you're looking for a home defense solution? Like I said, my home defense plan involves part of it includes a pump action 12 gauge. I think it's a very viable option for use inside the home, especially if you're worried about over penetration. A couple of rounds of birdshot are going to have a hard time getting through multiple layers of sheetrock. Cost, manufacturer has MSRP on this gun on their website at $179. I couldn't find a single online retailer selling it for that much. I would say that a quick search led me to believe that average retail is $129. It can be had for even cheaper than that. This gun came to me from Palmetto State Armory and was purchased on sale for $99 plus shipping. I would call that home defense on a budget. You are going to be hard pressed to spend the same money and get as much or more firearm. If you call it $150, say $99 plus your shipping, plus your transfer, call it $150. That is super cheap for what you're getting. Again, this is a Mossberg 500. There are hundreds of law enforcement agencies around the country who use these on a day-to-day basis. Dual action bars, I couldn't find a bunch of information about that online. That was one of the questions that I had personally. It does have 2 action bars, which is a reliability thing and something I find useful. Again, manufacturer lists several different parts for this firearm, but it also uses Mossberg 500 stuff. So the furniture specifically on their website is directly interchangeable with Mossberg 500, some of the 590 stuff. I would assume that the barrels are interchangeable, magazine end cap, magazine spring. They also list some magazine extensions and an optional heat shield maybe. I don't remember all of the stuff that they have for it, but there is some support for it. My philosophy is that if you're going to rely on something to defend yourself and your family, it should meet a couple of criteria. Ease of use or manual of arms. Pump action 12 gauge is one of the easiest firearms to teach a new shooter how to use. It's very easy to use safely. It has a very unique sound that is associated with a pump action 12 gauge. Support, reliability and support, we'll call it that. The Mossberg 500 has been in existence for decades. Like I said, there's tons of law enforcement agencies that have hundreds of these things in their inventory, and this is a carbon copy of that gun. Notorious reliability and tons of support in the form of aftermarket parts and repair parts. Huge in my book. 3, cost. Everybody has a budget. We live in a world where the economy is crazy, and being able to purchase a firearm, but then also train and use that firearm to become proficient with it is getting increasingly more difficult. You can spend $450 on an 870 and just have a shotgun, or you can spend $150 on this Tokarev TX3 Hammer, buy a couple of cases of shells and a range membership for the same money and go train with it and familiarize yourself with its use and become proficient. My challenge to you is, do you have a home defense plan? And if so, does it include a firearm? Drop a comment down below. I love hearing what people have in place and their ideas on the subject matter. Everybody has a different scenario, and I like knowing, for one, that you've thought about it, and 2, what that looks like for your specific uses. Thanks for hanging out this morning. I hope you find it useful. Have a great day, guys.